What's up everyone, Shark Guys here, back once again. It's been a minute, but today we're going to be looking at this guy right here, Mr. Alpine. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so a quick look at the packaging, which is pretty boring. Here's number 133 in the line. Damn, we are getting up there. I'll have a look at the art here. Pretty good rendition of the face. Blah, blah. No cross-sell, of course. Here you see him going up against some trouble bubbles as he navigates his way either up or down a cliff. And you can see a close look at a couple other things they've pointed out, which means very little to anyone until you've opened the figure. So let's do that. Okay, so let's start with the face sculpt. Now, I was pretty critical when the first reveals of this dropped. I felt that he looked a little derpy and not quite like the Alpine that we've gotten to know and some people adore over the years from the comics and the cartoon. I don't know if I'm sold on it yet, but you know, in terms of the paint job, it looks pretty good from where I can see. It doesn't have too many wonky eyes or anything like that. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He looks a little more Indian than African American. That's just the vibes I get off it. Anyway, you've got the Idaho t-shirt, which harkens back to where he's from and growing up in, surrounded by the mountainous region that he lived in. Nice look at the jacket here, which I'm sure you could get off with a little bit of effort. I do like this. You've got a, I don't want to call it a carabiner. There is a name for this. For rigging up a line as a mountain climber. I like the fact that it could be functional and could be used with the hook that comes with it. You could tie that off on there, unlike the piece of string that came with Parth Varma Wolf Spider, who is, in fact, Indian. Anyway, I digress. These carabiners are a nice touch, of course. They're not functional. On the back of the belt, you've got a bit more rigging. And this equipment here, this pouch, I don't know what it's for, but I know that people who climb mountainous things have one. And yeah, like in terms of the deco of the figure, I like the paint job on the legs. It is a nice touch. It does shy away from the original, where it is more of that original style sort of brown. I think I prefer this over that, because this is almost like an eggplant color. And yeah, it's been classified up, of course, but I don't know. There's just something more military, I think, overall about the original, as opposed to this guy who kind of looks a little weekend warrior-esque. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a look at the articulation. Arms are moving pretty well straight out of the packet. This one's a little stiff, so we won't go too ham on that. I haven't heated this figure up. I know some people like to tell me in the comments, heat these figures up before you do a review. No, what I do is I review them straight out of the box, so heating up comes later. You do have the butterfly joints in the shoulders. Forearm's good. Wrist swivel on, that one's good. Same here. Get him into a T-pose if possible. Yeah, that arm is a bit janky, so not working. He can look somewhat down, and he can't look up. Now, someone who is traversing mountains probably should be able to look up. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. legs, can kick his own ass, no problems with that foot, and can kick his own ass. That one's a bit, no, that one is actually quite stiff. So he is a one-legged man in a ass-kicking contest, essentially. So yeah, a little stiff, but that's okay. Nothing a hot water bath won't fix. While you're here, if you're new to the channel, thanks for checking out the video. If you're not new to the channel, thanks for once again checking out the video. Appreciate all of you guys who hang out in the chat and my live streams with Ronnie Trickshot. And I appreciate you guys who just comment on my videos. And so on that note, tell me, what do you think of the figure so far, and especially the face? All right, so that's the figure. We'll see how quickly he stands unassisted. Voila, no problems there. That's always nice to see. I didn't show you much more of the back, but you can have a closer look if you like. Honestly, besides like the detailing on the belt, there's not a lot of overall detail to the figure, so I'm not going to focus too heavily on that. But not being able to look up really is a problem for me. Anyway, so equipment-wise, he comes with this cap, which we'll may as well bang on his head now and see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty snug. It sits pretty good. It's not going to come off anytime soon. Nice one. I did take off the rope accessory that is on the figure in the packet. It is not the same as the Shipwreck one. It is different. As you can see, it does not have the hook for the grapple hook that comes with Shipwreck. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that over the figure. It's got a nice sort of elasticity to it, so it just hangs out there. I may have even put that on backwards, but no, that's it. That's right. There we go. Boom. Speaking of the grapple hook, this is it here. This is how it comes in the packet. And if you're wondering if it's the same as Shipwreck's, no, it's not. It is actually the same as the one that came with Arctic Storm Shadow, which you can see here. I'll do a little comparison for you if you like. Just a different color deco. I think it looks better in the silver actually, but whatevs. Now, the weaponry. This one comes in two parts. It is the grapple gun, and that just goes in like so. Or it should just go in like so. Yep. And it's snug as a bug in a rug. And if you're familiar with this, or it looks familiar to you, you will realize that it comes with the Alley Viper. And again, it has a different deco here in the hook side of things. Next up, you've got this SMG, which looks nothing like the version that came with the original figure, which unfortunately I don't have. I thought I did have it, but I somehow, long time ago, must have parted ways with it. Again, this comes with the Alley Viper. Again, it is done in a different deco. Removable mag, boom, thank you very much. And there is a port for a blast effect. He also comes here with two of these, which are pickaxes for a mountaineer. They've probably got a different name. Feel free to correct me in the comments or let me know. I like to learn things. They're nice enough. I don't remember seeing these with anyone else. At least with not any of the figures that I have, unless they've ended up in the accessory box because I didn't care for them, but they do not look familiar to me. But yeah, the deco is nice on the handles here. And they do, you know, tie in obviously with the figure's expertise. Now, Alpine's secondary expertise is finance clerk. And another little fun fact about Alpine is he was voiced in the cartoon by an actor named Lee Weaver. And I'll tell you more about him in a moment. This is the last accessory that comes with the figure. These are the see-through transparent goggles. So we might as well go pop those on his head. Oop, if I can not have them fly across the room. And they, again, like the hat, sit really snug. And the little divot for the bridge of his nose is fantastic. These may just be some of the best eyewear we've actually had in the line. Right up there with Doc's glasses. And again, they are not coming off anytime soon. Let's throw the cap on him. But back to Lee Weather. He was a bit part actor for the longest time. He's currently 94 years old, and I don't feel like he's probably doing too much work in Hollywood these days. But you may also recall seeing him in the film The 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he plays Steve Carell's neighbor, which is appropriate when you're considering that we are talking about action figures here, and Steve Carell was a collector of action figures and a giant great nerd. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw some of this stuff on Alpine, see how it looks. We'll start with the SMG, and already it seems like it's a bit tough for him to hold this. Just in the hand, the trigger finger is going. Again, this may benefit from heating up, but can you see how it's not tucking too well into his arm there? Across the body works better. And now it just fell out. And so did the mag. So I've just tucked it in like so. And can you see that? It's kind of bending the stock a little bit. So that's not ideal. Pop him in that position. You can hold it well, but firing position is going to prove a little bit difficult without heating him up, I think, first. And this mag does not want to stay in. So I've thrown some other stuff on him here. You can have a look how that contrasts with the figure. This going with him, I guess, is a good fit, but I don't know, it's a bit clanky sort of. Take that one off and throw one of these on. I think Alpine will really benefit well from some outdoor figure photography. You know, he's kitted up in that respect. It makes a lot of sense as being the environmental specialist that he is. One thing I neglected to go over when I was looking at the box, which I usually do, is his specialties. First up, as I mentioned, he's an environmental specialist level 4. This one's a bit funny, but he's bladed weapons expert level 1. Now, I don't know about you, but sure, these are bladed, but how many people is he going around axing? I don't know. Anyway, moving right along. Recon, he's a level 2, and mountaineering, he is a level 4, which of course is ideal, considering the character's specialty. Anyway, let's get him out of these. Now, another thing of note with Alpine is that he's also a specialist in a couple of other weapons per his original file card, and one of those is the M16. And as I've mentioned in my previous review of the Night Force Falcon and Quarrel, this weapon that came with that set is an awesome look for the Joe characters, and I think you'll agree it does suit Alpine quite well, even if he's struggling to hold a weapon. And I took the cap off just for a different look at him, you know, with the goggles on. I dig it. And he's also a specialist in the M60. So I took the liberty of removing this gridiron accessory from a Sarge figure I have, and that's the 60. As you can see, that looks pretty dope with him. Yeah, I dig that. It's always fun to kit out your Joes with weapons that, you know, they have been mentioned to use that never came with the figures. It's something I dig doing. And that looks badass in my opinion. I've just thrown this pair of nods on him as well, which don't fit amazingly well, but they do fit. Again, giving you a different look for someone who would definitely be operating at night. Now, one of the hallmarks of the classified line has been that majority of the figures can pretty much hold everything that they are packed with. Now, in this case, he can do that. I've just fixed the grapple hook here to the carabiner here that I mentioned earlier. I haven't tied it off. It's just literally looped through and sitting there. And I don't know if these hooks at the back are designed for the axes, but you can put them in there so he can climb with them. Obviously, you can carry the SMG and the grapple hook. So there you go. It would be remiss of me if I didn't reunite him with his homies, Quick Kick and Bazooka. So there you go for a little size comparison. I do have to say, it is pretty cool to have those three in the collection. 1985 was a banner year for Joe, and these three guys are no exception as examples of that. Final thoughts. Do I love this figure? I don't love it. My favorite Alpine, like I said earlier in the review, would be the original. Although the modern update is pretty cool too. And there is a look at him just briefly, which is obviously more of a tie-in with the original figure. And look, the head sculpt is one thing. I can get past it. Not being able to look up oversight right there. But for me, it's the reuse in the accessories. And I get why there's reuse. So please don't jump into the comments and tell me all about that. I know why they do it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I feel like at least one new accessory included wouldn't hurt. Maybe two, if those axes are in fact new. The fact that there's no backpack, and both previous figures come with a backpack and he's a mountaineer, kind of is a misstep. The SMG for me is iconic to that figure. I don't recall it ever being really reused in the original vintage line. It may have been. But, you know, a small little thing like that is something they could have done. However, the Gridiron loadout is available. I'll throw a link to that in the comments. That is something that will really, I think, make this figure pop. And even though there are the nice touches with the carabiners and the Idaho t-shirt, shout out to Idaho potatoes, you know, those are all great and all. And the fact you've got the little thing for the grappling hook, love that too. But just a couple of little tweaks here and there I think would have really made this a stellar release. Such as like Doc was. Like, look at how perfect Doc is in the classified line. There doesn't come much better than that. Anyway, thank you once again for watching. I'm going to wrap it up here. It's a little quick one today as I'm time poor. I hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions about the figure or something that you'd like to see, just hit me up. I'll always be willing to give you a closer look via my socials. You can check me out on Instagram at Shark Eyes Pics. Look me up there. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video, do whatever you like with it. Hey, shit can it if you like. I'm open to criticism. That's how we learn. That's how we evolve. Anyway, thank you once again. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your toys. Be kind. And say hi to your dogs for me. Now yodel.